Good afternoon to each one of us, most especially sa ating mga participants, and especially to our guest speakers. So welcome to all of us. Our first distinguished speaker is Maria Pilar Lopezbanos Carrion, a veteran in the broadcasting industry. She completed her journalism degree from the University of the Philippines. She began her career in the biggest broadcasting network when it reopened after the EDSA revolution in 1986. She moved to the US after 17 years working in the same company. Serendipity brought her to TFC, the Filipino channel, an affiliate of ABS-CBN Broadcasting Network. She is currently with the Corporation Affairs and PR Group. She is married to Mike, a work colleague, and they have a son, Miguel, who is now an active journalist, and they currently reside in California. She and her team bring pride to the country through their work in the service of the Filipino people. She has an Emmy tucked under the belt, among other very distinguished recognitions from the industry that she has dedicated her life to. Please welcome Pia Carrion.
Hello, everyone. Well, yeah, I did study journalism. Unfortunately, I'm not a practicing journalist because I was brought to the world of copywriting. So those of you who used to watch ABS-CBN, and if you are familiar with the station IDs every Christmas, yun yung ginagawa namin. But I will try my best to give you a background on journalism. I will now start. Let's share my screen. Journalism 101. So, an overview for defending democracy. Those of you who want to be journalists or who are trying, like even if you're young, you know, you're probably keeping a journal, writing in your school paper. So, what is journalism? What is journalism to you? Anyone who wants to speak. Just unmute yourself and say, para sa inyo, ano ang journalism? I want to hear your ideas about journalism. One word, one short sentence.
I am Ruth po from Davao. For me po, journalism is one way to really express our perspective, our opinion and also journalism for me is also one way to connect the reality of our society. Thank you.
Very good, Ruth. Thank you for that. Walang right and wrong answer dito, ha? So anybody who wants to share pa what you think journalism is, Nico, you want to say something?
So basically, how I think journalism is effectively like journalism is like a profession of writing about what happened and what happened where you are.
It's that is one of the important things about journalism also. Now, for you guys, how do you consume your news?
Yeah, okay. For me, I use Twitter.
Like my son, okay. I think that's the millennial way. Twitter, okay. EJ and Kiona, where do you watch your news?
Sometimes, internet and TV.
So yeah, because really we get our news from different sources. Let's move on. Thank you very much for those who participated. Salamat. So the types of journalism, the oldest one is print. Nakita niyo yung mga examples ni Jenny earlier, di ba? Everything was like mimeograph or yan. So newspapers, magazines, ang Philippine Inquirer, Philippine Star, Manila Bulletin. Yan, examples yan. Dito may New York Times, San Francisco Chronicle. And then there's broadcast journalism, which is through TV and radio. The examples of which are TV Patrol, CNN, DZMM Teleradio, Radio Veritas. And then digital journalism, which is the internet, like EJ and Kiona, no? They go on the internet for their news, Twitter, Rappler, and I guess we have a guest speaker later who will talk about this also. What are the main roles of journalism in our society now? Journalism is there to inform the public of noteworthy events, from reporting new government policies to exposing corrupt businessmen to telling us about the bombing in Beirut and 911. So that's informing, no? And then number 2, to shape or mold public opinion by sharing relevant context and facts pertaining to a news story. So hindi lang nagre-report. Kasi pag nagbasa kayo ng news, you get to form your opinion about the story or about things that are happening around you. Like if a journalist writes about the coronavirus, the pandemic, and what the government is doing about it, then depende sa storya niya, you get to form opinions about is your government, taking care of you and the frontliners, the health workers, are they doing the right thing in arresting the virus and things like this. Number 3, journalism helps amplify the voices of marginalized communities. So we just don't write about businesses, successful businesses, or governments, and the like, but we also give voice to the voiceless or those na marginalized communities. An example are the indigenous people, the Lumads, for example. Maybe some of you have heard about them in the news or in your schools, tinuturo ng teachers. You're not in it for the lucrative business because there's no money in journalism. Go to the community and tell their stories, because otherwise nobody will know about their situations or how they are, their needs. And then number 4 is to be the watchdogs of democracy by speaking truth to power. We have to preserve yung democracy natin and how do you do that? By speaking the truth, even if you're speaking against the powerful and the influential ones, even if it's against the government. I'll give you an example of how some of those roles of journalism is like in real life. This is actually a clip from a movie, Spotlight, but it's based on reality. It's based on how the Boston Globe, they had an investigative team within the newspaper and how they worked at exposing child sex abuse by priests in the Boston area. So with your permission, I'm going to play this clip from the movie. So this is a clip from the movie, and the investigative team is trying to convince their editor that
we got law. This is it.
No, this is law covering for one priest. There's another 90 out there.
Yeah, and we'll print that story when we get it, but we got to go with this now.
No, I'm not going to rush the story, Mike.
We don't have a choice, Robbie. If we don't rush to print, somebody else is going to find these letters and butcher this story. Joe Quimby from the Herald was at the freaking courthouse.
Mike.
What? Why are we hesitating? Barron told us to get law. This is law.
Barron told us to get the system. We need the full scope. That's the only thing that will put an end to this.
Then let's take it up to Ben and let him decide.
We'll take it to Ben when I say it's time.
It's time, Robbie. It's time. They knew, and they let it happen. 2 kids. Okay? It could have been you. It could have been me. It could have been any of us. We gotta nail these scumbags. We gotta show people that nobody can get away with this. Not a priest or a cardinal or a freaking pope.
Okay, so that's an example of how the investigative team was really very proactive in their role as journalists and speaking truth to even the powerful ones, even if it hurts, because some of them in the movie are, come from Catholic families and their parents, probably refuse to believe it. But so that's just an example. The next part of my talk is about the core values of journalism. Again, Mr. Aidan White, the director of the Ethical Journalism Network says these 5 values very clearly, and please listen well. If you have your notebook, if you want to take notes, there's just 5 of them. And
there are about 400 codes of conduct around the world, covering all aspects of journalism. Some of them are very short, some of them are very long. But actually all of them are really focused on 5 key values for journalism. And the first of them is accuracy. I won't say truth, because truth is a very long word. It actually gets us into a discussion about really what is true and what is not true. But accuracy is very important. So therefore the first principle is no deceptive handling of the facts. We work in facts, so fact-based information. Secondly, there's the principle of independence. The work that you do is your own work, but it's not on behalf of anyone else. You're not there to be a spokesman for the government. You're not there to be a representative of a particular business group or a special interest group. You have transparency in what you do, so that when you are speaking and dealing with your audience and producing material, you're acting independently as an independent professional. Thirdly, there is the principle of impartiality. That is to say, you recognize that there's more than one side of a story. And very often there's more than 2 sides of a story. And as a journalist, you're responsible for looking and thinking about what are the other sides of this story. Here is one story that's being told, but what are the other opinions that I need to bring in to make the story whole? And then fourthly, there's the question of humanity. As a journalist, you're expected to show humanity. And what I mean by that is you're expected to be aware of the consequences of what you publish and what you broadcast. So you have to be aware that sometimes the words you use, the pictures you show can do damage. They can be harmful to people. It's not the job of a journalist to do undue harm. It's our job to protect people. And it's very important that when we are in reporting, we don't indulge in hate speech. We don't show obscene images. We don't show unnecessarily explicit images of violence and so on, because we are part of a humanitarian process, and that's what journalism should be. So humanity is a very important part of it. And fifthly is the issue of accountability. It's the one that's probably most difficult for journalists, and that's, we're not a humble group. We find it difficult to say sorry and to admit our mistakes, even though we can be lacerating in our criticism of others. But we have to do that. We have to engage with the audience, and we have to correct our mistakes, and we have to be prepared to provide remedies when we get it wrong and do damage. So these principles are pretty straightforward. Accuracy, independence, impartiality, humanity, and accountability. Those are the things that what make journalism different and distinct.
you got your notes? Accuracy, stick to the facts. Independence, you're not a spokesman for any entity. Impartiality, you have to get all the sides of the story. You cannot be biased. You cannot be biased. So even if you're pro this or anti that, you have to get both sides and not skew to, kasi you, as a person, ito yung ano mo, beliefs mo, you cannot let that affect your reporting. And then humanity. So be very careful with our, and this is in line with what Kiara says, no? We have to be very careful about the words we use, the pictures, the images we use to still be love, and then not, not to use hate speech or to get a shocking image just for likes or whatever, no? Or to be controversial. And then accountability, to be ready to admit to our mistakes, because sometimes tao lang, nagkakamali. So, and be ready to correct it right away. Now, why is journalism or press freedom important? You might have heard these words spoken or discussed, teachers or even your parents. And there was this whole protest because the Philippines felt that our press freedom was being stifled, no? Pinipigilan. So why is press freedom important? There is this very nice video that Rappler produced where they interviewed young campus journalists pretty much like yourselves. So I will let them do the talking again.
I'm a campus journalist from Miriam College.
I'm a campus journalist from University of the Philippines, Lopezbanos.
I'm a campus journalist from De La Salle University.
I'm a journalist from Ateneo de Manila University.
Isang alagad ng medyang pang-campus sa Universidad ng Pilipinas, Diliman.
I'm a campus journalist from Polytechnic University of the Philippines.
I'm a campus journalist from San Beda University, Manila.
Bakit nga ba mahalaga ang mga alagad ng medyang pang-campus?
Importante ang campus journalism sapagkat ito yung ambag ng kabataan sa ating bayan, no.
As a student, ako simula no elementary, I've been a managing editor of a newspaper, and this is how I saw the world, how I started my passion in communication.
Having been a campus journalist for all my life so far, I've come to believe in the potential of the youth and the power of stories to act as catalysts for social change.
Campus journalism is important simply because it can drive change.
Press freedom, I think, is not just important today, but important at all times.
Dahil dito nakikita natin na ang mga estudyante ay hindi nagpapakulong sa 4 na sulok ng classroom.
Ito ang susi para maging mulat at kritikal ang mga estudyante sa mga nangyayari sa kanilang komunidad.
Sila ang naguhubog ng pampublikong opinyon.
It enables us to express ourselves through writing, and it also enables us to speak for the truth.
Everyone deserves to know the right information at the right time. It is our moral imperative to be aware of the issues concerning our society and act in accordance to this.
Importante ang press freedom sapagkat ito ay isa sa mga karapatang walang pinipiling antas ng pamumuhay.
Naniniwala ako ng malayang pamamahayag ay nagbibigay ng kritikal na pananaw ng ating kasaysayan at ng mga pangyayari ngayon.
Ang media, ang press, ay isa sa mga haligi ng ating demokrasya.
Press freedom is important dahil these press people are the ones responsible in showing us another picture, another lens of an issue.
Naniniwala ako na mahalaga ang malayang pamamahayag dahil nakakatulong ito upang maisiwalat natin ang mga katotohanan sa mga pangyayari sa bansa, lalo pat laganap ngayon ng fake news. At ang akto ng disinformasyon ay nagiging gawi na ng karamihan.
Let us fight against misinformation and disinformation at let us defend press freedom.
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 That is the end of my presentation. But then you do everything with love because, with love, you build courage. You have no fear in telling the truth.
She was one of the hosts of the Gen Fest held in Manila in 2018. She has worked for various Nobel institutions, including Gawad Kalinga, and in Malacanang during the term of former President Noynoy Aquino. She is currently the multimedia head of a communications think tank company. So let's all welcome Francesca Mempin.
Hello, thank you. What a very generous introduction. It's so nice to be here, to meet everybody. Good afternoon, everybody, my fellow teenagers. Yes. Today I will be talking about the future of communication, and the TLDR of this is it's memes. Yes, I know. I was a little intimidated kanina when we were talking about journalism and all the seriousness of journalism. I totally agree with that. If you heard in my credentials, quote unquote, I am a mass comm student and I'm very aware of the responsibilities that you have as a journalist. So I would also just like to add na press freedom is not freedom from responsibility, it's freedom with responsibility. So, but enough of that serious stuff. Let's talk about memes, kids. So I'm probably preaching to the choir with this, but just so we're all on the same page here, let us first define what a meme is, right? So you know that an online trend is to be taken seriously when it makes it to the dictionary. So according to Merriam-Webster, right, a meme is a noun. It is an idea, behavior, style, or usage that spreads from person to person with a culture. Another definition is it's an amusing or interesting item, such as a captioned picture or video, but not limited to just a captioned picture or video. Or it is a genre of items that is spread widely online, especially through social media. If you notice here, it says especially through social media, so it's not limited to social media as well, because now it's already spreading to messaging apps, like Viber and Telegram and Messenger. Viber's for the older people, I would say. I'm included in that. Telegram's for work, and then all the fun is in Messenger. So this has become my for a language that I'm also speaking when I'm talking to my friends. But really, the word meme was coined by this herp-derp. His name is Richard Dawkins, and he wrote a book, The Selfish Gene, back in, you're reading it correctly, 1976. He defined memes as a unit of cultural transmission. So yes, kids, the meme generation, the trend that we millennials and Gen Zers embrace so much was actually created by a boomer. So you have to deal with it. Okay. So now let's categorize the different kinds of memes, right? Starting with the different formats. So we have the classic static image. So this is where the memes on 9gag and 4chan originated. So this is my homeboy Snoop Doggy Dog. When I'm trying to take a nap, but the nap ain't trying to take me. I'm sure all of you have experienced that before, and that's exactly how you look like. And also there's the GIF. So this is one of my favorite GIFs. This is a Nyan cat, usually accompanied by music, but it has become a GIF now. And I consider GIFs a love language now. This is how I express love towards my friends and my family. And of course, with the rising fame of TikTok, there are also meme videos, right? So I won't bother I'm sure all of you have already seen this meme. I love this video. This this dog who's biting it's so cute. The chicken nugget so gently. So the person behind the video, the camera was saying na you just bite, you can take a bite, but gently. And he did. So TikTok is such a phenomenon kahit na marami siyang mga controversies attached to it, like stealing data and all that stuff. But really, the platform, despite all of that, has allowed us to create meme videos a lot easier because it's so much easier to add text and to add music and to add all sorts of effects to these videos now, right? There are also different genres of memes, starting with pop culture, where the content is trendy. Next is the daily life. This is my personal favorite because it's something, I don't really know what it's called, but I would say something that I would call it daily life. So these are the memes that point out the ordinary details in our lives that we usually ignore. So they are the mundane, diba? Petty things na we don't really pay attention to. And then it gains popularity because we apparently we realize that we're not alone, or as you kids like to call it, hard same. I love that term. Anyway, so this is a meme from a cartoon that I don't even know. So the meme says, me looking at the imaginary camera every time something crazy happens. So I could totally relate to that because I feel like my life is one big reality show. Next is the socio-political, ito yung medyo controversial na genre of memes. No? So these are the memes that express some form of opinion on current issues. This is a very unusual but a fascinating phenomenon because we have found, as citizens, we have found a new creative and mostly funny way of holding people in power accountable. So this is a meme of Cynthia Villar. I don't know if you're also aware of this trend. Recently, because we conduct online shows often. So in our recent show, we were talking about cancel culture, and one of our guests is a sociologist. Her name is Nicole Curato. You should follow her on Twitter because she is a queen and I stan. But she was talking about how we cancel, if it is okay to cancel or call out politicians or people in office. And then she said it's fair game if that's the case, because these are the people who we elected in power. And how else can we, ordinary citizens, make our voices be heard than to create these things that are funny and calling them out through these forms. And I totally agree with her, because right now, ito yung nagre-resonate sa atin. It's easy to read. It's funny. I think isa yun sa biggest factors why memes are such a phenomenon now. So in conclusion, and ultimately, in my very professional opinion as a meme sharer, there are no rules on how you're supposed to create memes. So kahit na may iba-ibang genre, iba-ibang format, there really is no formula kung how you can and cannot create memes. Because in the first place, memes became popular because they broke all the rules. So if you study graphic arts, or if you're do graphic arts, or if you're a graphic artist, you would know that there are color theories and typography rules that you have to follow. No, nobody uses this font anymore, the Comic Sans, but you can use it in memes because there's no rules. And the whole point why it's so fun to share and to create memes is because you're not bound by any rules on design and layout and all that stuff. So basically, if I would say, according to me, there can only be two kinds of memes, and that is the cringe memes or the dank memes. A dank memes means memes that are cool, right? Okay, so just to let you know. So, but seriously, why is it important to familiarize ourselves with these things, especially in the field of journalism? So, ano yung connect neto, diba? So, I would like to take a look at this graph. Will Smith is going to help me point out the salient points. No? As you can see, there has been an overwhelming rise in the virality of memes in the past 16 years. So, when we did a comparison via Google Trends on the search term meme and the search term newspaper back in 2004, memes were hardly ever mentioned in the search engines, no? So it was all newspapers. It's probably people who were searching for what's the newspaper today, where can I get the newspaper now, what is the newspaper in ganyan. So yun ang compared to memes, yun ang mas sinesearch nung 2004. And then somewhere in 2012, the memes were starting to catch up with the newspaper, the frequency of how it was being searched online. And as you can see also at that point, the word newspaper or the term newspaper was starting to decline as well. And then finally, in the present, the word meme has increased exponentially, even higher. If you can see back in 2004, yung kung saan nag-start yung newspaper, the memes now, the mention of memes now are much, much higher than how newspapers started. So that's how big memes are now. So what does this mean? Do you like my pun? Okay. So what does this mean? Memes are resonating with more people now. They're resonating more with people now, sorry. Whether it be your hook for an article, if you already know the structure of an article, may it be your hook or the article itself, no? We can utilize this to convey our messages more effectively. So if you see how a structure of an article normally is, so this is, I don't want to get too technical, but if you've been studying journalism, you would know that it's a reverse pyramid, and it starts with the hook. So that's the heaviest part. That's where you put all the important information, and then you get into the details later on, depending on the size of your article. You just pack in the information sa baba, and then later you can shave those off. But the most important part is the top, right? So it looks a little complex, but with memes, it's so simple. It's the headline and the news. That's it, no? Of course, this doesn't mean that we stop studying how to write captivating and effective news articles. And I think it's very important for me to mention that. It just gives us another tool to get our message across. So I'm not saying rely entirely on memes and just forget about the whole theory of writing articles. It's still important to know how to write good articles, but this could be another way for us to how we get the attention of our audience online. Unfortunately, there is a negative connotation of memes. A lot of memes now are obscene, racist, violent, or, just downright hateful. But not all memes are evil. And I know what you're thinking. Meme possible. That is also a classic meme. So that's not impossible, actually. You just gotta use your noggin and be creative, right? So I'm gonna show you a couple of examples on how you can use memes in a good way, right? So one is this meme. Let's take this as an example. So this is a fun take on how priests have been forced to understand technology after being mostly in manual mode, quote unquote, for the longest time. And I think it's so cute. Look at it. Hi guys, welcome back to my chapel. I think it's so cute kasi, and it makes us appreciate the priests more. And anybody who is not tech savvy, who is now adjusting to these very weird times, no, trying to shift to technology. Another one is this is a use of a meme where you wash your hands after shaking it with someone who you realize you don't share the same views with. So that's the original use of this meme. Pero here, it is reminding you to wash your hands because of the pandemic, no? So, what is your favorite movie? So, sabi nung ka-shake hands niya, Shrek. So, hinugasan niya kamay niya. But actually, Shrek is my favorite too. I'm just washing my hands to protect myself from coronavirus so I can live longer and watch even more Shrek. So, these have been used as tools with good motives, diba? So, parang, I can see actually this chapel thing, meme, as gamiting visuals for an article on maybe a list on live streaming essentials, no? Something that people are gonna search for. So this is a nice hook para sa ganong klaseng article. Okay, so now I would like to have a little bit of an activity for all of you guys. I want you to think of an advocacy that you support, or an idea or an issue that you have been thinking a lot about lately. So the more knowledgeable you are of the issue, the easier this activity will be for you because you don't need to research so much na. I want you guys to create your own meme. And I'm showing here visuals of some of my favorite memes. As you can see, may theme siya yung I'll give you an example. This is one of the most versatile memes right now and most commonly used. No, this is called the distracted boyfriend meme. Church song sa ating mga young Catholics. So we gravitate towards Hillsong, which is actually a Christian group. And I'm not saying that their songs are bad. Their songs are actually really good. And the messaging is also really good. But sana the Catholic Church can also create Catholic songs for us Catholic youth, right? So, yun lang naman. Maybe I can give you guys 5 minutes to create your memes. There are so many tools that you can use. I hope you have the right tools to do that. So this is entry number 1. This is a kid with waiting in vain expression. And yung caption is, no one. Ako na nag-aantay ng memes ng email ng school. Ayan. Next is eto. Pro. So, productive or procrastinate. This is us right now. Torn between being productive or procrastinating. And then, ito naman, when Kim Jong, I guess this is wants to stay safe from coronavirus. Can I eat that? Next naman, ito, in a Zoom meeting, pag audio only, ganito na yung itsura. Pag video. Next is you and your teacher when you're the first one on the Zoom call. Titinginan na lang kayo. That's funny. This one is an original made by Yumi. Pag natapos mo yung math quiz pero may back page pa. I guess it happens to everyone. So see, this is an example of, daily life, things that happen in your daily life, and then you just point it out. People are gonna eat that up on the internet. Next is sending file, 99% internet connected. The internet said connected and then no internet. Next naman is 2020 plans, pero hinaharangan ng coronavirus. So true, so true. Thank you so much for all of your memes, guys. Okay, so I'd just like to end with this message. No? So whether it's good or bad, there's no denying that memes have revolutionized the way we communicate. But what sort of impact will that have as we move further into the digital age on more traditional mediums of communication like print, TV, and radio? So think about it. How will that impact traditional media? So right now, even without the memes, I think the digital space has impacted traditional media greatly. And it's sad that for me, it looks like it's the beginning of an end of an era. But, it's a purist ako eh. I will still forever value newspaper. But it all boils down to what are we going to do with this new trend, no? But, and that is hopefully to use it wisely moving forward. Like I said earlier, I started this with saying that freedom of the press is not freedom from responsibility, it is freedom with responsibility. So may it be articles, news reports, or memes that you're creating to spread information or to communicate a thought or idea online. May you always bear in mind that there is power in the medium, whatever medium that you choose to convey your message. That is all. Thank you so much.